Welcome to MSUA's Game Changers Live, where we speak with satellite and mobile connectivity thought leaders about industry trends, new technologies, and share what you need to know about what's happening in the future with satellite technologies. I am your host, Lisa Dreher, and I am really excited to introduce our guest for today, Bruno Fromont. He is the CTO of Intelsat. Welcome to the show, Bruno.
Thank you, Lisa.
Great. Thanks so much for making time to be here today. Maybe we can start by having you give a little bit of background on yourself and Intelsat.
Sure. I've been in the industry for 30 years or more. So first starting in the European satellite industry, building satellites. After that, I joined Intelsat, where I've been ever since in different roles, technical, commercial, and even strategy. Right now, I'm in charge of the space and ground innovation in the company, product development, think terminals and things like that, our spectrum strategy, and of course our satellite design and operations. So for those who don't know Intelsat, I think of course Intelsat has been in a pioneer in the industry. We are celebrating this year our 60th anniversary, so it's kind of an achievement, a big milestone for us. We are roughly 2,000 employees, $2 billion of revenue, and we take our leadership role in space sustainability very seriously.
Great. Right. And so that actually leads into why we are here today. And Intelsat was recognized with the Space Sustainability Innovation Award during the Satellite Mobile Innovation Awards this year. And we really want to talk about what that was all about. So can you describe a little bit about that solution that Intelsat won this award for?
Yes, it does. It's been quite a while in the making. It started with a very simple question, actually, which is there a better and leaner way to operate in space? Arguably, we are the largest geo satellite operator in the world, with close to 60 satellites. We are been in space for a long time, and these assets are launched once and for all, basically. Sometimes the electronics still has ways to go, but because of the fuel constraints, we need to deorbit these satellites, and it's a waste, really. The cycles are very long. You need to redesign satellites, relaunch them and rinse and repeat, all the time. So is there a better way to do that? We started to work with a company called Space Logistics, which is now a company of Northrop Grumman, about 8 years ago. And the answer to that question is, frankly, straight from a science fiction book. So think about it. We're going to launch in space a robot loaded with fuel to dock to one of our satellites and basically take over the control function of the satellite and extend its life for a large portion of time, and then be able to do that with multiple satellites. So when you think about it, you have two spacecraft 36,000 kilometers from above the Earth. They are flying at roughly 7,000 miles an hour. They are trying to approach each other. Actually, the robot does, and with less than an inch type of precision, grab the satellite, dock, and take over these functions. All that remotely controlled, from our control center. So this is an amazing achievement, and with both Space Logistics and Intelsat teams have been looking at this. So I wanted to invite you to the final seconds of one of these encounters for you guys to listen to what's happening at the time, right? So this is, I'm just playing this.
Minimal ATS disturbances. Hey, stand by, everybody, for confirmation of preload. Preload is complete. MC standby. RTS 72 is complete. Activating RES. Catherine, do we have successful docking? Trailer is confirmed. AT2 is now successfully docked.
So this is what it takes, and it took this mating between the two objects took a while in preparation, and I think it really unlocked frankly new applications in space. This is how I think, and I consider this achievement to have done for this industry. So I think this is quite amazing.
Yeah, wow. That was really exciting to be able to hear that just event as it was unfolding. So how long has Intelsat been doing this for now?
So as I said, it has been long in the making. We looked at the business case very carefully because to prove something that has never been done before, we started with a satellite, that for which there would be no major consequences. We had to do so. We did it twice for the time being. First time we picked that very old satellite, which we slightly nudged above the geo orbit because in case of a collision or if something would go wrong, you don't want the debris or anything to compromise the entire orbit, which is, by the way, another sustainability problem we can talk about. And so we nudge it above the geo orbit. We made the docking, which we just played at that orbit, brought the satellite back to geo orbit, and now the satellite is functioning, serving customers over the different regions. And that's what the first docking we did. It was in 2020. In 2021, now that we had proven the technologies, we decided to do this with the live satellites right above Europe. And this satellite called Intelsat 1002 is still serving European direct-to-home customers, African customers, Latin America, and we performed the docking live while the satellite was operating. Think about more than 10 million customers, people watching their TVs, and they didn't even pay attention or even noticed what was happening. So that was a tremendous achievement. So that's what we did in 2021. And since then, we've been continuing to work with Northrop Grumman for the next generation of these robotic vehicles, extension vehicles, if you will. We spent some more money with another contract with them, and we're going to continue that journey together.
That is amazing. So what does this actually mean for Intelsat just in terms of extending the life of these satellites? And are there other customers that you're supporting in providing this service?
For the timing, we are very focused, with our own fleet because we have plenty to do given the size of what we have to serve. Basically, the business model is simple. It's again deferring capital expenditures, before we replace. So just that alone, in interest and compounding interest is quite significant. With the fact that, of course, on top of that, we salvage and we utilize and we sweat the assets, better. Of course, the equation needs to work. The cost of the fuel and the robot, compared to the revenue we can generate from these satellites, need to work, and which we resolve that equation together. And of course, right now, I think it also opens up, from our customer perspective, the notion that we can self-insure, if you will. If something would go wrong somewhere else, we can undock and go and move that MEV somewhere else. So it gives peace of mind from, again, self-insurance perspective to our customers, and I think that's a value add for our business. Never before we had these capabilities in any tool. Again, it's launch and forget pretty much in this industry. So I think it paved the way for different services down the road.
Right. So you kind of mentioned avoiding creating additional debris or that sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when we have robotic capabilities and the ability to now move from place to place in geo orbit, but potentially in other orbits, we can begin to address the notion that the junk in space could be managed and taken care of. I mean, as you know, right now I think NASA estimate that there are about 23,000 softball size, junk debris, especially in the LEO orbit. It's becoming a really a problem for us. Even when we launch satellite, we need to pay attention to what's up there, and it could create collisions, right? So a number of initiatives. I know the European Commission looked at things like that, where you would basically extend this technology to actually grab debris, collect them, and then dispose of them, down the road, which gives you again some tools to manage the environment and the ecosystem in space. So that's a big one. I mean, and when you have that, I think it paves the way also to repair things. If you look at the insurance claims in 2023, it was a disaster. A number of satellites were launched and something didn't work, like an antenna didn't deploy. So you bring a robotic arm to help and fix things, and potentially down the road repair and augment satellites. I think it re-energizes, in our case, the geo orbit and other orbits for having more vibrant innovation and continuous innovation, actually. So that's one way to bridge, the competitiveness between, space, which is kind of a slower pace, historically, with terrestrial innovation, which is happening, at a rapid pace. And this unlocks a new ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So are there other use cases that this solution can support?
Yeah, we actually, of course, we worked a lot with Northrop, but I think it did stimulate and gave ideas to a number of startups that think they can do similar things better, cheaper. And when you change that cost equation, then again, you can do different things. We thought about, inspecting. Can you imagine these robots are full of sensors, distance cameras, to see what's out there, for situational awareness, understand what is the situation, and be more proactive in resolving issues and reactive. And that's something that we're exploring. I mean, constant health check, if you will, on the orbit. And I mentioned the augmentation, adding sensors or functionality to spacecraft. We are considering this very seriously with that technology.
Wow, amazing. So any other things that you expect will happen as this technology evolves?
I know, I think we touched a bit, on it, but I think given, of course, the amount of VC capital that goes into the space industry these days, I've no doubt that some of these startups and, new ideas will help create a new ecosystem. In other words, today it's just you launch a rocket and you deploy something for a long period of time, but there will be constant travel and transport between different orbits, to move assets, repair them, augment, work in space, basically over time. I think that's maybe I'm trying to paint the future vision, but it could become a quite significant economy down the road. So we're pretty excited about this.
That is amazing. Okay, so if somebody wanted to learn more about Intelsat space sustainability solutions, what should they do?
Yeah, of course, we talk about that on our website. We have a number of people that share different committees that talk about space sustainability, especially with the Global Satellite Operator Association. But yeah, and otherwise, you can also ping me if you wanted to know more.
Great. Well, congratulations again to you and the entire team at Intelsat for earning the Space Sustainability Innovation Award this year. And we're really looking forward to continued advancements with these technologies. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Lisa.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And I do want to take a moment to thank the Mobile Satellite Users Association for hosting these sessions. You can learn more about the MSUA at msua.org and learn how you can get our weekly newsletter, as well as get information on how to become a member. And we'll see you next time on MSUA's Game Changers Live.